Great. Welcome, everyone. And Janet, I did see your comment in the chat. I will be sure that we follow up on that. Kate Wanasek is our special event manager. She's joining us today too. Kate, if you can check on that with Aiden first thing on Monday.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Great. Thanks, Kate.
I'm happy to do it.
Great. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jean Gribben. I'm Executive Director of Beads of Courage, and it's really a delight. These events we started back in the midst of the pandemic, furthering the genius of Katie Hacker, our host. We hosted events in person in Tucson, typically in February during the Gem and Mineral Show. And Katie's like, we can do this virtually. And of course, she's has many great friends that have become friends of Beads of Courage in the jewelry industry that jumped right on board to support us, as well as their very generous companies. I love these events in that the generosity of the designers, as well as the companies in which they represent and or own and work for, donate all the supplies that are used in the Designing with the Stars event. So 100% of your ticket goes directly to support the mission of Beads of Courage. And that's something we can all be really proud of. These events have raised thousands of dollars for Beads of Courage over the years, and thousands of dollars translate pretty significantly to our mission. I like to share our transaction rate, if you will, in that every $15 that we raise, we're able to provide up to 500 beads to a child or teen receiving Beads of Courage. So that's a pretty powerful impact that you made just by purchasing one ticket to attend Designing with the Stars. I also hope that you'll enjoy being a maker yourself at this event. I always joke with Katie and the designers, they're all so fabulous at what they do that I think they forget that many of us typically aren't makers. We have to have an invitation to attend an opportunity like Designing with the Stars to create something with our own two hands that we can wear ourselves, or perhaps pay it forward and give it as a gift to a friend or a family member. And what great joy that is when you can say, hey, I made this for you. I have a brief slideshow that I'd love to share with you. I think it's really important to kind of just push pause for a moment and remind ourselves again why we're here and what Beads of Courage is all about. So starting with all of you, thank you for attending. Your support means a lot to us at Beads of Courage, and as I shared, makes a big impact in our mission. Let's see here. Let's see, I'm not sorry, it's not forwarding for me. In case you didn't know, it's actually our 20th anniversary at Beads of Courage, which is a huge feat for our organization and celebration. The very first program started at Phoenix Children's Hospital back in 2003. And let's see, sorry, I'm not sure what's happening here. I'll always know how old Beads of Courage is because my oldest son is also 20. So I'll never lose track of the dates and how old Beads of Courage is. So it's our 20th anniversary, and kind of our theme for that is beads make it better, and you make it happen. We really could not be where we are today without the support of all of you for Beads of Courage. Now, in your box, you all should have received some mission moments, and I wanted to make sure that we just pause again and reflect on that. And I don't know why this is doing this. I'm so sorry. So I'm going to leave it in this frame of mind, if you don't mind. So I wanted to share this with Emsley. And these are all quotes that family members share, or you'll hear from kids themselves. So this is Emsley's family. We do have a neonatal intensive care unit program. Many are not aware of that. A lot of our supporters know that we give Beads of Courage to children coping with cancer, but we've expanded our program support. So you can see here, I don't think anyone can really understand what it's like having a baby in the NICU. Beads of Courage is an awesome visual way for friends and family to see all that she's endured. We love Beads of Courage. And it's really meaningful to our organization when we meet these NICU graduates, when they become of age and their family shares their Beads of Courage collection with them. We have young kids in our program, such as Arthur, who's 4. We know our son is very brave and strong. It means a lot to us to be able to have something to symbolize that strength and courage. Jordan, we believe in beads because it's a symbol of the courage and strength it takes to overcome all of the obstacles while battling childhood cancer. To little baby Reese, beads of courage are a tangible way for us to show how strong she is and how much she has already accomplished. They're also a reminder to our entire family of how far we have come alongside Reese and the hope and strength we can have when facing future surgeries. Young adult Kylie, it gives me encouragement to see how far I've come on my journey and to see how strong I am. I look forward to getting the beads. It's a piece of happy during the hard. And I will say in my own research on the program, the word happy comes up a lot. And I always share with people, I think that's the most powerful outcome to be achieved through Beads of Courage, because happy is an emotion. And the fact that we can have a positive emotion in the midst of something very challenging, to me, is quite compelling. Too cool. Beads of Courage is a light and a dark journey. The beads create such a colorful, warm, and calming chain, yet keep track of moments that courage had to shine to power through the pain and fear. And again, from a parent's perspective, Beads of Courage has helped us be reminded of all the things that Caleb has endured and overcome throughout his journey. This program is so special to us because one day when Caleb is older, we can show him his Beads of Courage to explain to him all that he has overcome. So as a scientist and definitely super passionate about the work we do at Beads of Courage, I wanted to share with you that I'm completing my postdoc next month with Dr. Jean Watson, and I'll be presenting the concept of alchemy as it relates to Beads of Courage. And I wanted to share that with you today because all of you will be alchemists today as well, because you're going to be creating something beautiful with objects. And I personally think and feel that you're going to have a lift in that process. And that's what alchemists do. They look at the symbolic and that spiritual development, that lift that you get when you work with objects. And it's very soulful. It's very meaningful. And the women that will be presenting today and our all-star cast, you'll just get a lot of lift from them sharing themselves and their talent with us today. And I love this statement. There's no separation between art, spirituality, and the sciences. What makes it different is that science will take the time to state the meaning while artists will express them. And this vase here represents the beads of Haley, who's no longer with us on Earth. And her family brought this to a bereavement workshop that I facilitated a couple months ago. And it really stirred me to see her beads in this glass vase. Even though we can't measure it, for me, I really saw the family bringing them to be with us that day. Just a lot of light and love came forward in that moment. So before we introduce our all-star cast, which Katie Hacker, our host, will do, we have actually some special guests, some Beads of Courage members that joined us today. And it's Tiana and Mia Ronstad. I would love for them to say hello. Hi.
Hi.
So Mia is
welcome.
the sibling of a Beads of Courage member, Larry. And this is amazing bead mom, Tiana. So great for you to join us.
We're so excited. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Great. All right, Katie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay.
And
thank you so much, Jean.
Our all-star cast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for starting us off with what this is really all about. And congratulations on almost finishing your postdoc. That's amazing. Really impressed and inspired by you, Jean. I would like to introduce 3 friends of mine who are all amazing women and mothers and who are here to share their jewelry making talents with us today. And I will second the fact that people who make jewelry you know, we love to make it, we love to wear it, we love using beautiful things to make it, but giving it as a gift or receiving a compliment or in some way using our jewelry as a way to connect, I think is really powerful. So our three designers today are, we're going to start out with Danielle Wickes. And Danielle is the creative director for John Bead. And she teaches weekly classes online with a focus on bead weaving and seed beaded jewelry design. She has created many of the classes. If you've ever seen a class through Michael's, Danielle is the mastermind behind those and an amazing person. And I love working with all of these ladies. So pardon me while I gush. I also want to introduce Tracy Proctor, and Tracy lives in California. Danielle, Tracy, Jean, and I are all on Pacific time today, by the way. So thanks for joining us from wherever you are in the country. Tracy works with Tierra Cast, and she has for years, and she is a specialist at coming up with really clear, concise ways of explaining how to do things. So all of these ladies are, but that is one thing that I know that Tracy is known for.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. We also have Sandra Lupo with us today, and Sandra has taught with us at in-person events. This is her first time teaching with us online, and I'm so excited that you're Zooming in from your home. Sandra, I'm glad you're here today, and thanks for being with us. Sandra is the inventor of the Conetastic tool, which is a really cool tool for jewelry making. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. And she's also a metalsmith, so she's going to bring some metalsmithing skills into our work today in just less than 20 minutes, which is pretty amazing. So without further ado, do we have any questions before we get rolling here? Are you guys all ready to make some jewelry? Do you have all of your stuff or your snacks so you can watch? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Danielle.
Thanks so much, Katie.
Welcome.
Hey guys. I created a project today that I thought was really fun, especially because the pendant that we're using, it can fit a lot of the lampwork beads you have from Beads of Courage. So this can be a way to showcase a favorite bead and wear it. And it's interchangeable. You can put a different set of beads on it and it'll be different for every season for you. So I thought this one would be really fun. It's super easy to create. And what I've got here on the mat, let me go ahead and just highlight my mat really. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Is a set of, designs that I made just that inspired me, but you can really do anything that you'd like. And it's super easy to put together. There's in your kit a set of spacers, and these can be really fun to just get the height correct. If you want to try to space them out or fill in as much space on the pendant as you can. And then there's also some diffuser beads. So if you like to use essential oils, you can add a little scent of essential oil to it. And it's fun to do that too. There's some ceramic beads and wooden beads in here. And all of these can be interchanged and moved around. And I think in your kit, you've got a lot to select from, so you can choose. And again, your beads from Beads of Courage will also fit on here. So super easy.
Hey, Danielle.
Yeah.
Are those diffuser beads, are they lava?
I believe they are, or they're either lava or pumice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. And so some of you guys might have the round ball version, and some of you guys might have the arrow, but they both work the same. And you'll just want to untwist it. And then you can put your beads on. And so I like to start with, because this is the top, the part that will hang from your chain. And so I'll go with maybe a smaller bead, put on a spacer, and then maybe I'll go for a lava bead. Another spacer. And so it's just really fun to play with your design and see what you come up with. And there's really no right or wrong way to do it. Maybe one of the flower ceramic beads. And I think I can get one more spacer on there. And then just to put the front of your pendant back on, or the bottom, I mean, you can just twist it. And I wear these a lot and I find that they don't come untwisted. But what you can do to make sure it doesn't is, if you're sure you don't want to change your design, you could put a tiny bit of Loctite on the threads. But honestly, I've never had them come undone. I just give it a really tight little turn and they do really well. So that's pretty much all you got to do. And anything you want to do, you can try it. You can take it apart and change it over and over again.
I love it. I like the idea too that you could assign meaning to each bead from your kit. So like maybe one of them says hope to you, or one says strength, or one says courage, all kinds of anything you want to put intention on that bead, you could. And I like the power of 3 too. Those are cool, Danielle.
Oh,
And
thank
with
you
the-
so much.
And with the
Thank you.
diffuser beads, is there a scent or a product that you recommend? In terms
I
of
used to work with a friend that sold doTERRA, but I think there's so many great brands out there that
yeah.
you can just put little drops on.
Nice. You could
They
put
last
lavender
longer.
for calming. I know that one off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I
definitely
love,
lavender.
I don't habitually wear them, diffuser beads with essential oils, but I'm not a perfume wearer. So I love the idea that you can put a little bit of oil on a bead like this and have a little bit of scent if you're not a perfume wearer. I like that.
Mhm.
Absolutely, yeah. I think
Or
one
you
of my
could hang
favorites
this from your backpack or your purse, key ring. There's lots of ways you could use this pendant. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the spacer beads too. I always forget that when you're designing, that just having some smaller beads that create a little dimension and space between the beads.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I love the Tiara cast spacers are so fun because you can just get those to make the design, right? They're just that.
And they need to be the large hole spacers, right? Because the diameter of that little pendant bar.
Oh, yes, yeah. I might be able to tell you the diameter. They're from Beadalon. They come in packs of 3, and I believe, let's see, the
There it's
diameter,
out at the top, I think, on the back.
top and the back. Oh, here we go.
That's the length.
That's the length.
I
If I
would
had
say
to
they're
guess,
I bet they're about 18 gauge. What do you say, Sandra? Yeah.
about 18, maybe even 16.
I think about a 12 gauge.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think
12 gauge?
14 gauge, definitely, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the spacer beads that from Tiara Cast are certainly large enough. And any of the, any large hole bead should accommodate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
They
great.
help keep your beads from rubbing together too, like with a diffuser bead. If those are a little bit more porous, so you don't want them scratching against everything else. So a spacer
Absolutely,
bead
yeah,
in there
that's
is a good
true.
idea.
Especially like if you wanted to use the larger one, that would be a really good idea to use a spacer there. And to kind of
Cool.
keep the oils in one place too on the pendant.
Teresa is a lamp worker and she says she loves this idea for her beads too.
Oh, thanks, Teresa.
And Janet says she loves diffuser beads. This is an awesome addition for the kit.
Thank you.
Yeah, love
All
it.
right. I think we have time for a door prize.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
So I'm going to drop a raffle. So all of you did receive an extra bead in your kit. I don't want to be a spoiler up front, but if you got the shuttle bead, you're not going to be a winner for the raffle. So it's okay though, because it's a super cute bead. And we love our Beads in Space program. And we do a lot of great things with that. So I hope that you'll have fun creating with your shuttle bead. But if someone happened to get one of our featured beads that's part of our NICU program, the NICU Dove, you are a raffle winner.
Kathy.
Okay, that's Kathy.
All right.
All right, Kathy. Congratulations. And so we'll be following up with you with your raffle prize, Kathy. So congratulations. Great.
Thanks for joining us here today. And every day. All right, Tracy.
Hi. Can I say hi to
Away.
Kathy and I go way back and I haven't seen her in a long time.
Oh, nice.
I know. Don't you wish you could just, like reach out and hug across the computer? I really do.
I know. So sorry, I'm taking a screenshot because I do hope to do a little bit of social media about our participation in this event after the fact. But so I'm a little bit distracted with trying to take some screenshots. But I'm going to actually switch my camera right now so you guys can see what's going on work surface. There we go. So we have a range of kits, of jewelry making kits that we've had. Oh gosh, I think we first started making kits at least a dozen years ago. And our intention with the kits was to create just really easy grab and go, very beginner friendly projects that people could buy for themselves or as gifts. So this is one of our older ones, and it's very, very popular and very, very easy. So hopefully you guys all have this in your kit. And I'm not going to actually pull apart this kit. I've got my parts all gathered and sorted separately, but I do at least want to take the card out to point out that all of the projects, all of the things that you need to make this project are listed on the back. And that's kind of good to hang on to, because you can make this project from the kit, but then you can also recreate the project by just gathering up these kind of supplies, and putting your own spin on this design, and maybe using a different themed button. So, hang on to this. And this little QR code also goes to a how-to video that's on our YouTube channel. And then on the inside is very simple. We always aim for simple and easy to follow. The instructions are there on the inside. And what we need for this project is 18 inches of 2mm round leather cord, and 18 inches is enough to make up to a 9-inch bracelet. And we're gonna adjust the size. We'll get to a certain point in the process where we're kind of gonna customize the size to whatever you need. But 18 inches should be enough to get you whatever size you need in the finished project. We also need a button and a charm. Now the charms we include in this, whoops, where's the camera? The charms we include in this kit we were just talking about large hole spacers. We have a lot of products that we made with large holes so that they'll fit on things like 2mm cord and larger items. So this is one of our charms that has this, what we call an opposed loop. So it sits so that you can string it right onto a piece of cord, as opposed to a charm that has a loop that's in line with the surface of the charm that then you would need to attach a jump ring to. So this is one of our opposed loop charms. We have 10 of these large hole spacers and a few large hole gemstone beads. We've got 5 that are rondelle. It is 5, right? Remember, I gathered my my parts separately from the kit, so I have to make sure I have the right number of everything. So 5 of the rondelle gemstone spacers and 4 of a round gemstone spacer. And this is such a very simple project. The first thing we're going to do is just take your leather cord, and I'm going to give it a little bit of stretching. When I'm working with leather cord, I do like to kind of pull on the ends, stretch it a little bit, so that, because otherwise leather cord can kind of stretch out after the fact. So you'd end up with a bracelet larger than you intend it to be after you've worn it for a while. So pre-stretching your leather cord is just kind of a good idea. So we're going to take this button and thread it onto the cord. And I'm just going to take it to about 2 inches. Let me get this stuff out from underneath where we're working so that it's not too cluttery. I'm just going to put this about 2 inches down the cord, and then I'm going to fold that end over and wrap it around. I've just wrapped it around. This will be kind of the base cord, and this will be the working cord. So I'm just wrapping the little working cord around the base cord, and then I'm bringing the end around and tucking it through the loop that we made. So it's really just a little overhand knot. It looks like a pretzel, you can see. So hopefully, if you guys have trouble with that, there is a little diagram in the instructions that kind of shows you what the shape of that knot looks like. but it really is.
Can you show us one more
Again,
time before you pull it really tight?
Sure.
Okay.
It again. So we're going to wrap this around and then tuck the end, and you want to tuck the end through so it's aiming away from the button. And then you're just going to tighten that down. I'm not going to worry about that being too tight right now. We're going to go back and kind of tighten and add some glue to all of these knots later to make sure they stay put. So now that we've got that, we've got the button attached, the next thing we do is take our charm, string that on and bring it down to the button. And then we're going to start a pattern of these spacers and large hole beads. So I'm going to start with a spacer and one of the rondelle beads, and a spacer and one of the round beads. And I'm going to continue that pattern until I've used up all of my beads. And these are, of course, because we're working with the 2mm cord, these are large hole beads, which I'm, you know, we wouldn't be able to do this if there was a traditional gemstone with a kind of regular sized hole. So these are large hole ones.
Are the other beads in your kit tiger's eye or whatever? What are those?
I think these ones are tiger's eye. I pulled these out of the drawer, the ones in the kit, and sometimes you know, depending on what's available when we're sourcing beads for any of our kits, the available can vary from time to time. So you may have beads that are slightly different than what I'm working with here. They're always very similar. They're just, there might be tiger's eye available at some point, and there might be some kind of jasper available at another. So your beads may not look exactly like the ones I'm working with. I'm actually noticing in the kit I pulled from back in customer service that these rondelle beads are a little wider than the ones I've got. So, but you know, when we make our kits, we always put a little disclaimer that what's in there from the image, because you know, when you're sourcing stuff, it really, you have to go with what's available. Might change here and there.
But the technique stays the same, and the
technique stays the
pretty
same.
much the same.
Yeah. And these ones that I'm working with, I think are a tiger eye. It's very pretty.
I can catch a little bit of flash every once in a while. That's why I asked.
I'm confused on where the charm goes.
Say that again?
I'm confused on where the charm goes.
The charm goes first. It goes right next to the button.
Does it go on both strings, like the one that hangs down?
No, we're actually,
knot?
After we've added some glue to these knots, we're going to trim this off.
Okay.
It's
Thank
just
you.
going to go on one, on the main cord, on the working cord.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're following along. I know that people have the option of, you know, being here for the live stream, but then just watching and then going back and making the project later. So it's fun that someone's actually making along with me. So I've got all my beads strung and they're all slid down to my button. And the next thing I want to do is kind of decide how long I want this bracelet. I've got an example here. Remember that this is where it's adjustable. You're going to decide how long you want your bracelet at this point. So what we're going to be doing when we get a little further along is we're going to be folding this over, and we're going to be tying a knot here and then tying another knot here. So this is where you kind of can decide where that button loop is going to go to adjust it to a length that works for you. So I'm going to fold. I'm going with right about here. It looks like it'll be about a 7-inch bracelet. Yep, just about 7 inches. I must have done this.
Good eye.
So I'm going to fold this over to make my button loop. I do want to make sure that it's going to fit over my button before I take this tail and wrap it around Again, wrapping it around the working cord and making that same little overhand knot. It just looks like a pretzel. And I'm going to tighten that down. And this one I do kind of want to give it a good tighten at this point. Because then what happens is that cord comes back up to the beads and we tie it in a second knot right next to the beads. And that does two things. It finishes off the design and it keeps these beads in place. So I've got my tail coming back towards the beads. I'm going to bring them right together, wrap that around, and make that last overhand knot.
So you're also just making sure that your loop is big enough to fit over the button too?
Yeah, that was crucial here down at this end. But
Gotcha.
it's not, I want to make sure that that fit over my button. And I also, as I'm tying that final knot, I want to make sure these two strands are kind of equal length. I noticed on this one that when I created it, I didn't tie this quite neatly. I left it so that this is a little looser. So I need to go back and fix that one later. But you want these to be the same length so that they lie next to each other nicely. And then make that little overhand knot and just tighten it down real good. That's really all there is to putting the bracelet together. What I want to do now is I want to take some super glue, and you can use Loctite, you can use super glue glue, whatever is your favorite. And I'm going to go ahead and add a tiny bit of glue into right in the center of that overhand knot for everywhere that I tied one. I'm going to put a tiny little bit of glue right in the center and give it another little bit of a tighten. You don't want these knots moving, so that's the reason for this. If there might be some situations where I'm adding knot to a glue, but I only want it to be on the outside of the knot because I don't want maybe the inside cord has to still slide. That I'm sure that if you're a jewelry maker, you might have run across a situation like that before. That's not the case with this one. We need all the cords to just stay put, so you don't have to worry about getting the glue on one of the strands, but not the other. You can just tighten it right down or apply it and tighten that knot down and let it dry. So in a perfect world, I'd let this dry before I went any further. I just set it aside and let everything dry. But in the demo world, we usually have to just move things along. So my next step is to just take some scissors or leather snips, whatever you have, and trim your tails. And that is, whoops, this one doesn't need trimmed. That would be bad. Don't trim this one down here. And that's it for this bracelet. It's a very simple, but really fun design.
I love this design because you can make it your own in so many different ways. You could make it for men, you could make it for women, make it for kids. You could do different
right. Something that would have been good for me to point out earlier in the process is the bigger the beads are that you're working with when you're making a design, the more of the inside diameter that's going to take up, if that makes sense. So this is a 7-inch bracelet, which if it was a chain or something that, or just plain cord that really had no thickness, that would fit looser on my wrist than this one is going to fit because of these larger beads. So the larger the beads that you're working with, kind of the bigger you need to make your bracelet, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So this will fit me just fine. It's about a 7-inch bracelet, but be sure and test how it fits before you do all that final knotting and gluing. Make sure that it's going to fit you. And that is it for that bracelet.
Before we let you go, Tracy, can you tell us about the design on the button?
The design on the button. So the theme for this bracelet is kind of it has Eastern spiritual symbolism. So the Om symbol is very, very ancient. I think it probably goes back to Hindu tradition, and it symbolizes the sound of the universe. So it's a very, very popular symbol, kind of cross different religious belief systems. It's become kind of a very universal symbol for peace, really, and harmony. And then the lotus also goes back to Eastern spiritual belief systems. And the symbolism of the lotus flower is that it blooms from the mud. So I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, no mud, no lotus. Well,
Mhm.
maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but it really is a symbol of resilience, and it's a symbol of good things coming from sort of hard circumstances or something. So I kind of like that fits very well in with the Beads of Courage philosophy. You know, there's hardship and
does.
good things can come from it.
Sure does. Yay. Thank you. Are there any other questions about the bracelet?
Looks like Allison might have a question. I see her hand up.
Yeah. I was wondering if you had any tips for doing the overhand knot that's right next to the beads.
Well, it's the same process. I've already glued mine, or I would demonstrate again. But you'll have tied this one with the for the button loop, and then when you bring that tail back, you're just going to wrap it around the main cord right next to the beads, and then tuck the tail through the loop you created. So it's very much the same as the other ones we tied.
Okay,
Does that help?
maybe.
Maybe.
The QR
And this,
code leads
you know,
to a video, right?
the QR code on the back of the kit card goes to a how-to video that's on our YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was great. Thank you so much, Tracy.
You're welcome.
Let's have another raffle bead real quick before we go on to Sandra's demonstration. So anyone that received another really amazing focal bead in the Beads of Courage program is our strength bead. Anyone received the strength bead in their box?
I have the strength bead.
All right, Jessica,
Yay.
Thank
congratulations. I will
you.
be following up with all of the raffle winners after our event. And I will do one more. How about the eagle bead? The eagle bead is a special bead that we use in our burn program. Did anyone get the eagle bead in their box?
Gail says she has it.
Who is that?
Gail? Oh, sorry. I'm not actually sure if it's in the chat.
Okay, great. Oh, I see it. Okay, great. Wonderful.
Yay, Gail.
All right.
All right. Does anybody have any questions before we move on to our next project? Oh, all right. Sandra Lupo coming to us live.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, tell us about what you're going to make today.
All right. Well, we are making a beautiful pair of tiara cast earrings. Let me just bring that.
Yeah,
in
we
front.
can see it.
Yeah. Wait 1 second. There we go. Complete with Swarovski crystals.
Nice.
And the material is all from Tiara Cast. And it is their newest collection, La Pura Vida. And these pieces, these components from Tiara Cast, all are of a cadmium-free, I'm reading this now, lead and cadmium-free Britannia pewter. So the pewter is the metal. And then we're accustomed to seeing a lot of wonderful platings from Tiara Cast. What they've done here is they've attempted to, and they're successfully, bring it in a more natural fashion. And so it's a natural, unplated, I believe Tracy said a water-based finish. So you're still going to get the same shine. And it's a lovely 1 1/4 inch fern earring that you're going to make. And you have a pewter post with a surgical steel back to it.
Titanium, actually, Sandra, titanium.
Oh, it's titanium.
Oh, titanium. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. So titanium, not surgical steel. And the pendant is a Swarovski AB crystal, an 8 millimeter. So it's the bicone shape, but it is with a lateral drill hole as a pendant. And so it needs to be attached with a jump ring. The construction today for you, whether you are a beginner or you're a seasoned jewelry maker, it's all about the tools that you'll use for opening and closing jump rings. There's no loops here, no ear wire, no head pins. It's pretty straightforward. So I thought I'd complicate it a little bit and actually have you understand some basic metalworking techniques. Since the pewter is not plated, it then is able to be moved a little bit. You can move this metal. It's malleable. So I'll show you again from the side. This is the pair that is, here it is. And then if I turn it to its side, you see that it's straight. Now I'm going to bring another pair in where I have actually taken a dowel, which is something that was in the kit, and I created a little bit of a curve. Can you see the curve that is created here on that? You can catch it right there. All right, so we're going to create a pair of earrings that is curved, creating an additional dimension. Kind of goes with the flow of the leaf pattern anyway. I really do like the way it works. And again, because the metal is malleable, we're going to be able to turn it with this dowel. But I will introduce other tools, and these are bead-along tools, and I'll just show you the variety of tools that you would use to create, to open and close jump rings. So there is a flat nose. Flat nose means that it is flat on the interior, the jaws are flat, and the top is flat. It's not pointed. So I have two pairs here, and those are the two pairs that I'm actually going to work with. Then next to it is something you're more familiar with as part of a pair of pliers. This is the chain nose. Chain nose comes to a point, flat on the interior, and then come to a point. And then the fourth one, and everyone loves these. And these four tools are suitable for opening and closing jump rings. That's the bent nose, and you can see the shape of my finger, how it presses down. It's as if you would want to tuck a wire end in. So this is also a really great tool for getting into a tight spot, and it works well because the jaws are also flat on the interior for all of these, to use them when you are opening and closing jump rings. All right, and at this time, I just want to thank, Jean and Katie for having me. I'm thrilled. I usually do this in person, so this is the first time I'm doing it on virtual. But also the product that I'm using is Tierra Cast. So I'll show it to you now. And the collection is La Pura Vida. I'm very happy, and I think Tierra Cast is happy too that I chose to use the fern, because all of their pieces in this collection are new, and they all feature this new finish, which is an unplated, natural pewter finish. So thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Jean, and thank you, Katie. Okay, so I will show you now what was in your kit. All right, here are the two lovely fern components, and they are 1 1/4 inch long. Then there are two earring posts. I believe the style is a succulent with a titanium post. I threw in a number of jump rings. You really will only need one for the top of each of these loops to attach to the earring post. But I threw a few in case you really like a long earring and you want to add maybe another few or change it up a little bit and make it even longer. It all depends on how long you like your earrings. But you can, and so that would be it in the kit. And the crystals are, as I said, 8mm Swarovski crystal AB, but any color is suitable. Katie had offered a beautiful tanzanite crystal, but I chose to go with the neutral palette for this, but certainly change it up as you see fit. It's easy to open and close the jump rings and add on anything that you would like. And the only other thing that was in the kit was the dowel. Now this is a 1/4 inch dowel, and it's 6 inches long. And this is the tool that I'm going to use, because it is wood and not metal, to be able to take that flat component, okay, and create it so that it is curve. Let's just get this into focus. See that curve right there? We're going to try that. Now, I'll only offer this to you. You're more than happy to just keep them flat. They do have a beautiful curvature to them in any event because of the vein on each of the components. But if you feel like changing it up a little bit and trying some metalworking techniques, this is what we would be doing. Take a look at your components. Of course, they're all going in the same direction. Focus on the two loops of each of the components, the top and the bottom, and notice that they're going in the same direction. But if I do this,
Sorry, team.
they're opposite directions. So that is perfect for creating a mirror image in an earring, in a pair of earrings. So what I will do then is I will take that one of those and I'm going to place the dowel underneath. Let me make sure I'm in focus. And again, this material is soft. If you use a metal pair of pliers or anything that is metal, you are work hardening it a bit too much and you might find that you will break the component, although it is very thick. So just watch the placement of my hand and the dowel in my hand. And my thumb always works I'm actually using my thumb to make the curve. Just a slight curve. See that? That's all it takes. I would put this down and I would repeat it for the other of the pair. Now, I'm going to do it so that you always keep your eye on your pieces and size it up and see which way you bent the previous ones. That's almost like muscle memory to do the same motion almost immediately after. I'll put that down. Now you can see that they are opposite each other and yet they are curved in the same manner. It's up to you if you want to continue that down here. You could do something like this on the top. I will just press a little bit. And on the top of this one, I will press also just a little bit. Well, use my dominant hand more than my non-dominant. All right, I'm pretty happy with the way they look. If I turn them over to the side, you can see the curvature that I've created. So, and the finish hasn't changed. The depth of the metal hasn't changed. It's really quite a nice component. And I do love working with the Tierra Cast new product because I can manipulate it a little bit more if I choose to. Okay, so now I'm going to need 2 jump rings, one for each of the posts. And here is where I will work with the tools. The 2 tools I have are the flat nose. I'm using these tools because I feel that I would like you to see that where I attach the tool, where the ring goes into the tool. Some of you may be very familiar with opening and closing jump rings, and others of you maybe have never done it. So I'll explain the process and the analogies of what to do with opening and closing jump rings. A jump ring is round, so you would not want to pull it in either direction because you are changing the shape of it. Instead, you want to take it, it's on one plane, correct? You want to take it and you want to look at where the seam is, bring the seam to the top. You can kind of touch it and feel it, and rest the jump ring laterally in the 2 pairs of pliers. Now, one hand will go in one direction, the other hand will go in the other direction, as if I were twisting a towel. Do you see that? What I've done is I've opened it. I haven't changed the distance really. I've changed the distance of so that I can add the air post, but I haven't changed the configuration. It's still round. All right. Now what I will do, well, first I'm going to add the component. Let me just do it this way. I want to make sure that I keep that mirror image. So when you do add your jump rings and your other parts, you want to make certain. Okay, so I've added the component, the fern component, and now this is the front. Now I'm going to add the post, knowing that I'm working with the front. Okay, I'll get in position so that the focus is better for you to see this. There we go. Okay, I'm putting it down. Now I'm going with the pair of pliers back to that position on both sides of the ring, and then if you twisted your towel, now untwist the towel, meaning you're going the other direction. If you happen to hear, and you can listen closely, I'll do it again. You may hear a click. If you hear a click, that means your jump ring has closed. It's a little subtle, but
I heard it.
thank you, Katie. You heard it. The other test, of course, is the touchy-feely test. Touch it to see if you can feel the seam. And the third test, of course, would be hold it up to the light. And if you see an opening within the seam, then you know you have to reposition it and close it again. So I've done that. Now I want to attach the ring, and I will again go through the process of opening and closing the jump ring. Find your seam, and these rings are excellent. I love the thickness of them. I love the diameter. They are perfect for this design. And the metal does match. So again, I'm keeping my eye on what's going to be my front. And I am going to now close it. Did you hear the click? Hopefully you did. And this one's a little wonky, so I'm going to do it again. Can't hurt to just go back. What you're doing is you work hardening the metal ever so little, but not enough that it's not workable. Okay, so here are the two posts with the two rings and the two components, and they are face up and they are opposite each other. What I've done is I've added ahead the ring for the crystal. Since it's a very small little opening, and I wanted to make sure that the rings went in without any trouble, without cracking the crystal. So the kit is prepared with the crystal already with the jump ring in it. I've opened the jump ring, same method. And now it doesn't matter, the AB finish is all around the crystal. Doesn't matter which direction you put it in. Okay, then I'm going to close it again. You might not have heard that one. The wire thickness on this particular jump ring is a little bit thinner, so it doesn't have that same click. So once again, I'm going to show you how I open this jump ring that has the crystal attached. Keep the seam on the top. Place your pliers and do your towel twisting.
I've noticed lately I really have to wear glasses for this part because otherwise there's a little bit of a gap.
Okay, I mean, and you know, I think it's best to wear glasses in any case when you are working with closing jump rings. The tools are really important, and there are other tools. There's a set of bead-along tools that I like also, and these tools specifically, they call them snub nose because the distance of the jaws are short, and a lot of chainmail people, well, this is what they use. The shorter the nose, the closer they can get to feeling and hearing that click and manipulating the ring opening and closing. So you have a choice, but in any case, your pliers should always be smooth on the inside. A round nose pliers is what we're all accustomed to pairing with a chain nose pliers, but in fact, it doesn't work very well to close rings. The only thing it can do is just mar the metal. So always have a pair of pliers, two pliers that have a smooth interior. And that will really help in terms of opening and closing jump rings. And so that is the project. And here's another option with the additional rings. You could also take these components if you don't want to wear them as earrings. You could make them as pendants. And I like big collars, and I can imagine seeing a lot of these fern components also curved a little bit with the dangle, and interspersing it on a necklace, could be seed bead work or wire work or whatever, and just have a nice collar with all this fern-like botanicals all around. So
I
just
love
go have
it. These
some
are
fun.
so pretty. Thank
They
you.
really
Sandra.
are. I can't wait to wear them, but I will send a pair certainly back to Beads of Courage.
Cool. Yeah, these are beautiful. And can you talk a little bit about what other things you might bend in this way? I mean, I think you have a unique eye to have looked at this flat surface and thought, oh, this needs a little wiggle in it, you know? What
Yeah.
else could you use your dowel to?
My
I
dowel,
guess you
my
could just go
precious
nuts
dowel.
on whatever pewter items you have.
Well, I've always taught wire work classes to beginners, and I've shied away from using fancy tools. They have plenty out in the market now, but 20 years ago, when I started teaching beginning wire, I would use a dowel just to wrap wire around it and make a coil, and then either cut your own jump rings from that coil that you slide off and have, or to create an ear wire. Take a piece of I guess maybe an inch and a quarter of a 20 gauge wire, a sterling silver or other plated wire, and you could create your own earring hook, like a fish hook. And the dowel really works because the circumference of the diameter here is very suitable to make that curve in the ear wire. Let me see, I have an ear wire here. I think it's a Tiara cast ear wire. And you can see, let me just bring it back here. You can see that it fits very nicely on the dowel. So shaping any piece of wire on a dowel is definitely going to work for you.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I love that. I also love the Swarovski crystals that you used. I'm used to just seeing them as beads where you string it through the middle, where these are unique because the hole's at the top to allow for that beautiful dangle.
Yes, yes. Swarovski, I have a long history of working with Swarovski crystals, and they were really way out in front in terms of pendants, regardless of different sizes, shapes, densities, just amazing pendants. But they all have a smallish opening at the top. So you do need to work with either a thin wire that you might do a wrap loop, if you're familiar with that, straight piece of thin wire, or jump rings that are suitable that will really fit right into the design. And yeah, I mean, there are many ways to work with the Swarovski crystal. I still have a stock, and I'm happy to share. So that's why you've got these gorgeous 8mm bent.
Thank you for your personal donation from your
Yeah.
staff.
Well, Katie, you offered the Tanzanite ones, and I might take them up on you for another project for Beads of Courage.
My beads are your beads, Sandra. Whatever
Thank
you
you, love.
Be
Thank you.
lovely. Thank you so much, Sandra.
You're welcome.
I know we wanted to try to get a picture of our show today.
Does everybody want to turn on their camera and their microphone and we can say hi and hi, hello?
And are people okay with me taking a screenshot and sharing it on social media?
Yeah.
If not, they can just leave their camera off.
My camera won't on.
Well, this was a lovely way to spend a Sunday afternoon. I'm in Arizona, and I know we have some of our supporters joining us on Eastern time. Like Sandra, are you in New Jersey right now?
I'm a Jersey girl.
There's our Jersey girl.
No beach today. We have terrible thunderstorms.
Well, everyone's joining us. We have 2 last raffles. So anyone get the Survivor charm?
I have it.
Yay, Allison. All right. Great. And our last raffle will be the anchor bead.
Yeah, I got the anchor bead.
All right, Kevin.
Woo.
I love it. Thank you all so much. And I'm curious, as part of your swag that we included in your box, we included one of our retired bead of the month beads. Those are all one-of-a-kind beads made by supporting lampwork artists. I'm hoping some of them might fit on your lovely bead charm cone that Danielle included in your kit. Hopefully the hole's large enough, because a lot of them would probably face and look really cute on that. Everyone got a different bead.
Oh, come on.
Great. Are there
Never
any
mind.
last minute questions for our designers?
What are the Tiger Club beads that are on the Beads of Courage website?
The tiger.
Tiger clip.
They're small packages. They're like $5. Some of them have beads with them. There's a theme. There was like one a month. They look like they were designed for small kids.
Not, I'm gonna have to lean into my colleague Kate, who's as equally familiar with our shop to support as I am. I'm not.
Is it the sibling program?
Say it again.
Is it the sibling program?
I don't know. They were the tigers. I saw little bitty tigers.
Yeah, we also had the bracelet that you could put together. It was like the black beads, and then it had a tiger that you would dangle on it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, the hopeful tiger warrior bracelet.
Yeah.
Also coming up in September will be our Tiger Dream broadcast. And so we've made available on our site, and our dream program stands for Draw, Relax, Embrace Art in the Mind. And we've been doing these virtual broadcasts, and that next one is September 21st. So that includes our tiger charm within that area. That might be it, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
But Tiger is our mascot, and we received a really amazing 20th anniversary gift about a month ago. We received a real tiger. Her name is Maddie, and she lives at Keepers of the Wild, which is a wildcat sanctuary located in Valentine, Arizona. I haven't yet made the drive there to see her for myself, but she will be the star of our Tiger Dream animation and broadcast September 21st. But really excited to partner with Keeper of the Wild and raise awareness for the great work they do, and give some love to Maddie, our official real tiger, to join Courage Tiger, our mascot.
That's amazing.
Well, this was really fun. I had a great time. Thank you to our host, Katie Hacker.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank
Jane,
you.
are you
For
still
joining us
Thank you.
today.
Are you
Thank
still
you.
looking for bead bags to be made? Do you guys still need those?
We always need bead bags, always. They're very important to our program. So yes, if you know of any stitchers out there that have any fabric, doesn't take much to make a great sacred little bag that our kids can use to bring their beads to and from the hospitals and the clinics.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Thank you. And there's a pattern.
yeah.
There's a pattern on our website too. If you go under the artist tab, drop down to bead bags, there's a pattern on there
Okay.
that you can follow. Yeah, that would be wonderful. We're always out of them, to be honest. Great. Thank you, everyone. Know that you can always reach us at Beads of Courage. Our email is info@beadsofcourage.org. I personally get that email. So if anyone wants to share any feedback with us, have any great ideas, they never fall on deaf ears at Beads of Courage to support our mission. So we welcome any feedback as well as any great ideas to help us further our mission. I hope everyone has a great Sunday afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
everybody.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Aw.
Bye, everyone.